everybody. I gave you 40 seconds of uninterrupted. Epidemic sound instrumental. Yep. It's my royalty-free background music. Yeah, I just figured out why I got bounced off Twitter with my original name. And it probably has to do with me having background music that was not royalty-free. And they automatically, with this AI, artificial intelligence, they whip through the entire library of all music ever. And if you play it without a permission slip, they drop you like a hot rock because you're not allowed to broadcast things you're not allowed to broadcast. So they police it. Like, oh my God. And there's no one doing it. They just ruin your, I have this great handle, FAU for you. I've been on the faculty at the College of Science at FAU for 20 years or so. Actually 22, but who's counting? And so that's why it's FAU. It's not affiliated. It's just, I was an early adopter. I trapped the name before all the geniuses at FAU thought about it. FAU, the number 4, U. What could be more appropriate than FAU for you? Well, that's my handle. Yep. If you want to look up all my 480 broadcasts over a number of years, few years, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know how far back I went when I started doing this. But I looked it up. It's a statistic that comes right out of somewhere. Over 48,200 listeners. 48,000. Holy mackerel. That's a lot. My internet connection is pretty lousy today, so Facebook Live just took a hike after 4 minutes. The internet signal, let's do a little, I don't know if you can see this, you probably can't. Let's do a little internet thingy. If there's too much jitter, oh no, I got huge, oh my God, 500 megabits per second. I paid for 2,000, right? If I'm lucky, I get 500. I got 570 today. Upload speed is around 70 megabits per second. I got all kinds of bandwidth there. What's the matter with these guys? I only need, I think it's like 8 megabits per second. I have 50. But if there's like jitter, it's streaming, right? Like a stream. Well, if the stream gets, if the hose gets too skinny, I think of it more in terms of like a garden hose. Like you have a half-inch hose and it's 50 foot in length. You don't get much squirt out of the nozzle. But if it's a 3/4 inch hose, then you get a lot of pressure right to your nozzle when you're watering your plants? And can you spray up to the top of the palm fronds with a 1/2-inch hose? Forget it. Ain't happening. But with a 3/4-inch hose, which, are like twice as expensive. But, you'll be able to spritz further, higher, better, with a finer mist. Okay. You learned a little something today. If you're a homeowner and you have a garden and, you got hose bibs all around your house usually, if it's built up to code. And so you can put a 3/4-inch hose on with a nozzle on one side of the house and on the other hose bib on the other side of the house. They usually have 4 hose bibs, so go on either side. Then I don't think they make those.
It's 9 o'clock.
Hoses that do the old expando trick. And then when you turn it off, it all shrinks up. I think those are 1/2-inch hoses. Don't bother buying the 75-foot version, because by the time you get to the end of that hose, it's going to be a little trickle. These public utilities don't have the pressure that you would think. Yeah. The actual pressure. Pounds per square inch at the hose bib. If you get 45 psi, you're lucky. Pounds per square inch, psi. Pounds per square inch. Anyway, what do I got here? It's the 19th of October. It's Sunday. It's 9:01 a.m. How about that? I actually got on the air 8 minutes early, just to see if there are any early birds out there. And it's Sunday. How about that? So we don't always get a Sunday broadcast. Today, Marilyn is sleeping in. She had a busy day yesterday on a Saturday. She had to go to some event at 6 o'clock at night that the Chambers had at the IBM T-Rex area. I was one of the first graduating classes back when T-Rex was IBM. We're talking about in the 70s. That's the 1970s. This is the 2025. So we're talking 50 years ago. Can you believe it? 50 years ago. I was a 29-year-old lad, and I registered for COBOL coding, would you believe, at the IBM Training Center portion of the T-Rex Park. They didn't call it T-Rex then, it was just the IBM. It had these 3 unique buildings that kind of like, they're like this, And then the governor threatened corporate America that was in Florida. They're going to charge them 0.5% tax on their assets. Well, IBM being hundreds of billions times 0.5% is hundreds of millions. So they said, pardon the expression, F you, strong men to follow. And they left the state of Florida and went back to Armonk, New York, which is their headquarters. They had a main. They had like 110,000, if I remember correctly, 110,000 engineers working at the IBM Center, which is now called T-Rex. Yep. Yeah. So. All right. Just, I don't know how many of you out there have had a stent, but Maryland, my Maryland, has a stent right where the widowmaker is. In this case, it would have been a widower instead of a widowmaker. It's an artery that enters the heart from behind the heart. So, with the cheap version of, any scanning or, what do you call it, the less effective radiology treatments that you can get like in a doctor's office, which is usually baloney. So my cardiologist, first name Philip, he actually was in my class. He took my digital class. Can you believe it? And I said, look, we were riding bikes, and Maryland turned lobster red everywhere, all of a sudden. So there was a cardiac event that occurred, and I watched it. So don't tell me she didn't have a cardiac event. I've been a scientist for a long time, longer than you have, actually. Although you're a doctor and I'm just the schmutz sitting in here as the spouse of the patient, Marilyn. And she had a cardiac event. So they put her through and had a follow-up visit. And he looked at us and he says, well, this is good for 95% of the population out there. And I said, well, Maryland is the other 5%. So if you don't want to look at it that way, then we're out of here. We'll go find another cardiologist. I'm sorry to say. Those are unspoken words. We just politely left the office and never came back. That is the honest to God. Never got a call. These doctors don't give a shit. They have so much business, they don't care. It's not like a little town in Nashville, Tennessee or something or other. This is the big city of Boca Raton, and Philip, our original cardiologist, who was one of my first 12 students at FAU when I started teaching digital photography, digital imaging. These doctors like to learn things. So, he signed up. He was number one in the class, I can tell you that. I'd give them an assignment, and he was like, he was the first one done. He's sitting there. He's back on his iPhone doing whatever he's doing, keeping up with his email, text messages, whatever. But he wasn't interested in the 5%. He was interested in the 95%. Well, Maryland was in the 5%, so we had another cardiologist, and he went, who placed the stent in there. There's an intermediary part of this story which escapes me. I'm trying to think of why this other doctor placed the stent. instead of Dr. Ordonez, who was my favorite cardiologist. Probably found Ordonez later. Yeah, probably later. I found Ordonez because I had the very early stages of a heart attack 7 years ago. And he diagnosed me as needing a quadruple bypass surgery. But the Boca Hospital didn't want to do quadruple bypass surgery. They wanted to do it with two of them. But the other two, it was some kind of high risk, stenting thingy. And my cardiologist said, you will not survive that operation. I said, ooh, well, let's not do that one. What do you recommend? He said, I'm going up to the Delray Medical Center because these doctors won't do it. You want to be at the Boca Hospital with the Boca doctors, chief of cardiologist, and I had a little falling out over you. And I'm going to Delray to meet with Dr. Brian Bethay. Brian Bethay. Yeah. He did my quadruple bypass surgery. He had to use gauge 5, gauge 4, and gauge 5. Whatever that gauge means. Imagine it's like with plumbing, it's a 1/4-inch hose and an 1/8-inch hose. But they take them out of your mammary glands up there. They strip them out and put them on a table, and they use them for the bypass. They're the arteries that bypass around the blocked arteries. So they just bypass around it. And then the part of the artery that has the blockage just basically, I guess, absorbs itself into the body because the bypass is where all the blood's going, all the way around, yeah. 7 years later, everything's ticking along pretty good. It's amazing I can do a EKG right here on my wrist. I don't know if I can show you this. You're not going to be able to see it, I don't think. So I'm going to go here, start that app, and then I touch the wheel here. And if you can see, you see my electrocardiogram? It is known as a single lead cardiogram. It goes for 30 seconds. This is an on-air demonstration of the EKG as detected by my Apple Watch. Sinus rhythm. Yep, that's it. Let's see if it shows up on my... It'll eventually show up here. Yesterday at 6:05 p.m. I did it. So it'll go through. Let's see. Yeah, it should be... It should have... It'll check through. Yep, let me go back to my watch. The blood sugar is 100. What does that say? Should be about 164. Blood glucose, 150. See right there? Pressure yesterday, 128/65. That's pretty darn good. Yeah. Wrist temperature. They don't tell you the actual temperature. They just say whatever your temperature is as a baseline. As of October 9th, it doesn't do it every, it keeps track of it like, doing the results for a week. It takes it every day. It skipped Tuesday for some reason. Alright, so you go plus 5 degrees, you go minus 5 degrees. We don't want to do that. There you go, Jim's Apple Watch. When in doubt, get the Apple Watch. It is magical. I can see
It's 9:15.
I can see what the range is on my car. There's the Tesla. You see the little Tesla there? You see the Tesla? It's 9:15 this morning, which it is. 243 miles worth of range in the car. The battery on my watch is anyway, so the heart, the health app, I'm not too sure who produced. Let's see, is there a way of knowing? I think this is an Apple app. Let's go to the App Store and do health. Health app. Let's look at all those. There it is. Over here on this side right here. This is it. Just type in health app. This is the landscape mode, as you'd see, like if you're with an iPad, which I am. They tell you everything, nice easy stories about how these readings are taken and, how they pluck the mid-range of, this is heart rate. You can see it's these are sleep stuff. What was my sleep score? I had a sleep score of 83. That's a good one. I touch on it. Yeah, 83. That's one of my highest. And it tells you how much deep sleep in 6 hours and 37 minutes. Yeah. That's an increase over the last 7 days. Yeah. Sure is. I just look at the sleep score. You can see the three different top, middle one. Is that a focus? Here, let's do this. do a print screen. There we go. Now I can go to my photo album. And there it goes. There you go. Now you can see that is a print screen of my watch face as of 9/18/43. 1 minute ago. 9/18/43. But you see the sleep score of 83, yeah. And the different types of sleep, the deep sleep and the REM sleep and the core sleep. The health app from Apple. Did we determine it was Apple? Let's see, who's the developer? More? Yes, the developer over here. Let's see. And we can go full screen and then you can see. Bingo. Right side, Apple is the developer. Yep. That's the app right there. It's got a white thingy with, yep. I'll do this. Oops. Gotta grab that little guy properly. There we go. Save that to photos. In case we come back here again. Yeah. There's the sleep app. You know, charge your watch in the middle of the day. Of course, the Apple Watch Ultra 3, which is what I'm wearing. Let's go back to the pictures. There we go. That's it. The top one says 10. That's a 10-minute timer I have on my watch, like for cooking pasta. And you see down here, 2:43. That's how much energy I have in my fuel tank in my Tesla. I have 243 miles worth of energy in there. And that's my blood sugar went up 2 ticks because I had a piece of banana bread this morning. Sipping that with warm tea with cream, no sugar. How about that? And you can see, also put this way, we're 90 feet above sea level. There's something in the watch that determines what your elevation is. So if you're climbing a mountain, you could say 2,327. Or if you fly to Denver, Colorado, your elevation would be like 5,000 feet above sea level. Would you believe it? You climb a mountain, it could be 10,000 feet. And then the air gets very thin. But Denver, Colorado, you know, is a place where you can there we go. That is the proper aspect ratio for this. There we go. Today at 9:18, I did that great screenshot of my watch. But that feeds right into here. See, it's 7:18 a.m., which is when I got out of bed. Then the sleep, the time that you were asleep, then stops. because you got out of bed. So, whoop. There we go. Took me about 5 minutes to get focused. And I got my little fanny out of bed. And went to the little boy's room, brushed my hair, so I would look pretty for this broadcast, although you can't see me. Because it's too frightening. I put a piece of blue tape over the camera lens that's looking straight at me, so you can see the side of me if I was so disposed. There we go. Hello, universe. I am a founder member of the Fox Broadcasting audience, and they gave me a little coin. This says founder on it. If you're wondering what that's flashing over here on the side. Look at that. Founder. Yeah. What's on the other side? Yeah. Fox Nation. Fox Nation, a little out of focus. Yeah. It's a fixed focus lens I have here. There we go. I'll just leave Fox on there. Aggravate everybody. If you want to know what's going on in the world, I'm a scientist by training, a biochemist. Can you believe it? And I became biochemist because it was the easiest classes to take. Chemistry? Are you kidding? I loved it. Yeah. So, that's what I did. 6 years of training. About halfway through that training, I decided to be a pre-med student. So I loaded up on a whole bunch of biology classes so that I could be a pre-med student. Which I did. So I graduated with a double major. Yeah. BA, BS, double major. 6 year deal. I had all kinds of scholarship kinds of things. Not that I was that scholarly, although I could hold my own. I was known by some of the student body as the curve wrecker. Because if Jimmy was in the class, that's where one of the A's went. Oh yeah, I was Mr. A in the biology world. Oh God. You know, with chemistry, you had to think. Now in biology, you have to think, but they tell you what to think. So you just memorize. In the world of biology, you just memorize everything. That's all. You just study it so much that you memorize it. That's what I did. I memorized several books. Yeah, some people can do it and some people can't. I was capable of doing it if I was interested in the topic. If I didn't like the topic, then I didn't memorize it. It was a matter of choice. There you go, sleep over the last 7 days. My average is 5 hours and 40 minutes. However, yesterday, or last night, or this morning, I slept 6 hours and 37 minutes. How nice. When did it start? I was in bed 7 hours and 40 minutes. 6 hours. So for about an hour, I was listening to Fox News on my headphones. Yeah. And then I passed out. Conked out. Oops. We need to add this back in. There we go. We need to switch cameras. Oh, God. So
It's
complicated.
9:30.
There we go. I like to be on the right side and middle. There we go. Over on the right side. I have adjusted my trusty old SM7B microphone. This guy right here. You can't really see. Yeah. You saw it in the full screen mode. Let's go full screen just for a second. See right there? That's it. Okay, so it's the best microphone out there. Swap cameras again. There we go. I like to be on the right side of middle. There we go. You see the time right there. There you go. See it? 9:31:08. That's the time. What does my Apple Watch say? 9:31, 19, 20, 21, 22. Everything Apple ticks at the same exact second, within 50 milliseconds of each other, all over the world, actually. They've taken time on 12 satellites. They're not Apple satellites, they're some other kind of satellites, Comcast satellites, you know, whatever. This is my weekly summary of my, what do you call it, sleeping. Notice here on Thursday, looks like Thursday I took a half-hour nap. It's like 3 o'clock. I passed out. Tuesday, I didn't sleep well, so I had a several-hour nap in the middle of the day. My total sleeping was 6 hours and 50 minutes, but it was broken into 2 pieces. He was 6 hours and 38 minutes of sleep, 6 hours and 50 minutes of sleep, and this is 6 hours and 37 minutes. So this is a few minutes less sleep time, but it's like normal people. You're in bed sleeping instead of on the couch. Yeah. There's a month with the sleeping results. Notice on the 27th or 28th. There's better sleep tracking with the Apple Watch Ultra 3. You see how sporadic it looks? I mean, I've been wearing Apple Watches for a long time. I mean, I go So let's go 6 months. There you go. This is my 6 month. There we go. May to the November, May, after May, July, up through November 8th, which hasn't existed yet. There we go. Yeah. So now we're April 27th to October 25th. That's like next week. Let's quick this a little bit. There we go, October 18th. That's through yesterday. Average time in bed, 6 hours and 32 minutes. The average time of sleep, 4 hours and 42 minutes. And the reason why that's a little screwy is because I was sick a couple of weeks ago. Didn't sleep well at all. And we can go right back into here. Yeah. Uh, 4 hours. 6 hours. 4 hours, 6 hours. Yeah, this is it right here. The week of September 14th. Not pretty. In the world of sleeping, average sleep time 3 hours and 16 minutes. That's not good. No. Anyway, the sleep data is important to know. Sleep. The watch has a special sleep apnea, which is when you don't breathe properly. And there is a breathing rate is the respiration rate. You can see here's the weekly results. Average 13 breaths per minute to up to 28 breaths per minute. Daily chart, weekly chart, monthly chart, 6 month chart, a 1 year chart. I mean, it used to be not long ago where, you know, the doctor, even today, the doctor will prescribe some machine that you get from the medical machine thing, and they bill Medicare for it for $400 a month for this stupid thing that you got to wire yourself up and put stuff around your chest and try to sleep with that on. Well, with the Apple Watch, it's 24 hours a day, and I'm wired up, but Apple has figured out how to measure all these things with your wrist. There we go. We expand this just a little bit. Then we get 2 of these things per row instead of 1. And you can see more. You know, just slide this over a little bit. There we go. Get it centered right. And then you can see everything that I'm seeing. See it a little better. Blood pressure, 128/65. That's just, I mean, if you're 20 years old, that's your blood pressure. I did it 3 times with this trusty little guy that's in a bag. Take it out of the bag, put the cuff on. after I get off this broadcast, which has been going on for 46 minutes. Johnny West clicked on my thing yesterday. It was basically a thumbs up kind of a thing. Johnny West was my next door neighbor across the street. He lived at 39 Andover Road. Our address was 40 Andover Road. He was directly across the street from me on East Hills, Long Island, New York State. Yep. He's like a year younger than me, maybe. We weren't in the same class. He was like a year earlier. His sister was my first girlfriend. She was a girlfriend when I was like 12 years old. Sarah Jo West. That was Johnny West. This is his sister. He had several sisters. He had two sisters and a brother. There were four of them. Sarah Jo. She lives in, I think, California somewhere, yeah. I'm here in Boca Raton. Started off in New York State. She's in California and I'm in Boca Raton, yeah. We're all gray-headed now, and yeah. Unbelievable. But we're still kicking. That's right. I'm trying to keep track of all my biometrics here because I am over 80. I'm a smidgen over 80. Well, it's a smidgen and a half. Yeah. It's October, November, December, January, February, March. 5 months I'll be 81. Holy crap. The time marches on. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Meantime, I'm keeping track of my biometrics. Activity is kind of course, as of 9:13 a.m., I'm sitting on my butt. I was standing for 3 hours. That's about it. Making my coffee and cleaning up the kitchen from last night. And my house husbandry things. Marilyn works hard during the week, so least I can do is keep the place neat and tidy. I get a little help every 2 weeks. I have these two cleaning ladies that come in and for about an hour and a half every 2 weeks. Yep. And they run around with the vacuum cleaner. They clean the toilets and mop the floors and the things, it requires equipment, I don't have equipment. My tool bag is, here's my tools. A couple of screwdrivers, pretty skimpy tool bag. I got a tool drawer in the kitchen. It's got a hammer, a ball peen hammer. You go bop. Put a dent in someone's skull. Yeah. With an oak handle. Oh, I wanted to show you this. I took a photograph of it. Marilyn has a stent. And because she has a stent, there's my watch face. Oops, there it is. Full screen of that one. Bingo. There we go. So since she has a stent, she takes an anticoagulant. It keeps the blood cells from sticking to each other. So she takes this pill once a day. It's called Brilinta. But there's a what do you call it? A generic for Brilinta. And the drugstore was trying to charge me $243 for 30 pills, 30 Brilinta. So you know, that's with insurance. My copay was $243. You kidding me? Where's my trusty calculator? We'll clear that. 243 divided by 30? Are you kidding?
It's 9:45.
$8.10 a pill? I don't think so. That's my copay. So, Publix has a little button. I can do the Publix thing right here, and prescriptions. We'll just take Maryland, for example. And where's Brilinta? There it is. Brilinta. So I went into the home page here. It says save. This is my drugstore, Publix Pharmacy. And Publix is a big chain of. Back in I was a shopping center developer along with Curtis Crenshaw. I don't know if he's alive today. Anyway, we built, a million square feet of stuff. And one of the lead tenants was Publix. Discover savings. Okay, let's discover. So let's try Brilinta. B-R-A-L-I-N-T-A. So as you type, you see right there, Brilinta. Well, if you look that up, let's just press enter. Take this one. 60 tablets. Now, let's see. Get that to 60 milligrams. There you go, 195, 196, 192. I don't think so. Let's try the Tricaglor. That is it's Ticaglor. Ticaglor. This is the way you pronounce that. And that is the generic. That's the chemical in Brilinta. What does that cost? $37 for a 2-month supply. Let's try 90. Save that. $52. Well, $52 for a 3-month supply is better than $243 for 30 of them. Yeah, that's a big difference. Yep. So, accordingly, view coupon. There's the coupon. So what I did is I took a screen grab of that. And there it is. That's the coupon. This is a 60-day coupon. This is 90-day coupon. This is not insurance. I don't know what it is. PBXF1. So the member ID is that number right there, CF609, and this is 929, and this is 609. Must be some hexadecimal thing. PF35, PFC29. Anyway, different member ID, whatever that means. Show this to your pharmacist, and they'll type in those numbers, and you'll be charged $50 for a 90-day supply instead of $400 or $500. They wanted $243 for 30 days. The guy's doing me a big favor. This is United Healthcare. They got some weird stuff. Where they keep track of how much you paid per drug. Anyway, so we just switch to this other stuff. You know, when the copays start to go nuts, when you get in what they call the donut hole, whatever the hell that means. There's a meaning for it. I don't want to go into it, but it's annoying stuff. Anyway, here's my health biometrics. So, it's one of the things that I battle during the day. You keep up with the insurance stuff. By the time you get it all figured out, you know, you're half dead. Then no one wants to believe you. The life of the elderly. It's all right. I keep them thinking. All right. So here's my photo album, which. See, this reminds me that the health, Apple Health. You want to download if you have an Apple device, which if you don't, you need one. Get out of that Android stuff. You know, all the stories that you read about people getting ripped off out of their iPads, this and that, and they get, you know, all this stuff with their computers. That's because they're dealing with Windows and Android. 85% of the world, let's say 80% of the world, is connected either to Windows or Android. And all these little bad guys that are in the basements in Moscow, that's where all the fraud comes in. If you have Mac devices, you have iPads and iPhones, they don't get hacked very often. They do. But Apple's got a building full of people that pounces on it really fast and puts out upgrades to, you know, block up the leaky dam. What I've noticed is that the Apple programs are very stable. And they're not subject to the abuses that you see with some of these other... just lost Twitter. Bye. So guess who's left? After 1 hour and 49 seconds is YouTube Live. They seem to be the most tolerant of the streaming crap that you get with the, the waviness, the jitter. The jitter will kick off the device from streaming. It's the jitter. So, look at that shot. Took that last night, I think. Yesterday at 6:55 p.m. The sun was just going down. Maryland's got this little stuffed toy kind of thing on the stick. It's stuck in a plant. Here's the plant. You see the little, there's 3-leaf and 4-leaf clover plants. It flowers. There's a little flower. Got a couple of flags in there. Plus this dummy with the stick. Scarecrow. Notice the hat is blown back. See, the hat is not blown back. It was a little windy just as the sun was going down. And this little hat was blowing back. And there's the Boca Resort. The tower. The Tower of Power. It goes up about 40 stories. The Boca City Council permitted a 40-story building, 42, 3, 4 stories, whatever that is. And then they shut down. And, why wouldn't they let 40-story buildings being built all over? The environmentalists, people carrying signs, these goddamn politicians want to get reelected. I ordered checks. Running out of checks. Standard checks, 2 pack. Back to my photos. I ordered checks. Big deal. That's one of the photos. Let's get that over in a minute. There we go. I started a story yesterday. Let me just check to see if Marilyn's up yet. Marilyn has arisen at 10:58 a.m. So I'm going to kick off the Sunday special. Anyway, I'll have to get into this tomorrow morning. This is participating in a podcast of some Tesla shareholders. And they're talking about, just exploratory, talking about taking control of Apple. Can you imagine? Elon Musk, his companies are so valuable. They can just, they can raise money like crazy. And they were talking about, well, they only need about, 200-300 million. We could take control of Apple. It's a $3 trillion company. He said, oh yeah, what do you want with Apple? We want the data. They are full of data. They have 2 billion, with a boy, 2 billion iPads, iPhones, shoulder pads, Mac computers, 2 billion subscribers, users, people that get service. They know everything about their customers. We merge that data in with the Tesla stuff. And then with the cars, we'd know all about their drivers. And they could have a conversation with their drivers. Hey, would you like to just have a, they'll learn everything about where they may want to go, what kind of restaurants they like, because they can see all the, your receipts from your Apple Card or your credit cards, your debit cards. You can see all your transactions. Amazing. They want the data, and with a couple $100 million, they can buy the data. Just buy Apple. And they were basically saying, this guy, he hasn't done anything. He's a supply side guy. He used to be in charge. They hired him out of, this is my own reading and my own memory, which may be a little foggy, but I think they hired him, Steve Jobs hired him out of Hewlett-Packard. He was a supply chain guy at Hewlett-Packard for building all their stuff. So Apple hired him so they could have a better handle on the supply chain for building their iPhones. So he's not really a creative guy. He's a supply chain guy. And he hasn't really done anything since he's been in the spot for, 10, 15 years. The iPhone's already been, was already created. The iPad's already created. The MacBook's already created. The watch is already under development, when he was there. So he didn't have anything developing with the Apple Watch. It was already on the drawing boards, so to speak. So what has he done? He did the goggles. It's a complete disaster. Yeah. That's the version of the Cybertruck. The goggles is Apple's Cybertruck. I've been in the Cybertruck. It's like being in a Model Y. You wouldn't know you wouldn't know what the exterior looks like by sitting in the interior of a Cybertruck, other than the fact that you're a little higher up the road, looking out the windshield. But, anyway, they want to take control of Apple. Have at it. That's what I say. And get some creative people in there that know it. Said, hey, this guy's over 60. He's got his $1 billion. What the hell does he care? Keep the shareholders happy, and the hell with new stuff. He doesn't have the fire in his belly to to create new exciting things. You know, the risk takers. So they either have a lot of exciting products that he is keeping from, you know, because the senior people decide which products get developed and which don't. So, you know, the goggles are great if you're, you know, robotics surgeon, where you're dealing with the robotics, you know. And it can feed into the goggles and you can see what you're looking at, you know, a lot better. So for the medical community, it's probably pretty exciting. But unless you're in the medical, you know, in an engineering or academically or in the medical world, those goggles pick up the buying public. Gamers, they're going to spend $3,000 for goggles. I guess some of these gamers, you know, they have enough money, they can do anything, I guess. Respiratory rate. My average breathing was 22.8, and now it's 19.5. That should be good. That's the 8-day average. That's the 20-day average. I like that, I think. Resting heart rate has come way down. That's a good thing. I think that's good. Show all health trends. Oh my. There's more. Active energy, not so active. And blood glucose, averaging 166 over the last 28 days. Should be 120. This is not so good. My blood oxygen at 92, 93. Should be 97 or 8. Oxygen. Here we go. Keep your wrist steady. I'm going to hold on to my iPad here. Let's see if you can see this. It swirls around for 15 seconds. 11, 10. It's reading my blood oxygen right now. Comes around and does this little donut thingy looking thing. Recording complete. So because they have a patent infringement lawsuit going, I gotta go to the health app. See, here's my blood oxygen. There we go. And here the current reading is what? Daily. This reading right here. 98. There it is. 10 o'clock. See? 10:06. 98. Can't hardly see it. Blood oxygen. Day. Takes a while for this to filter through the different applications and so forth. But my blood oxygen is sitting there is 98. That's good. That's actually real good. I mean, 100% is the best, but 98. I'll take a 98 on my final exam. Any day of the week. That's a solid A. There you go. This is the average for the last 25 weeks. So. Okay. I'm done. Marilyn's probably hungry. We're going to go somewhere and have, I don't know, breakfast or something. You all have a great day. See you tomorrow morning. somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. If you want to hear me live, you can hear me anytime. You can click on, you go to FAU for You. Go to YouTube and do a search in the search box. Let's do it right here. Type YouTube, YOUTUBE. There's YouTube on this iPad. And right up here in the search box, all the way in the top, let me go full screen on this so you can see what I'm looking at. Fast demonstration there. Over here in the very top corner, next to that 9 plus, there's a little magnifying glass. That's your search engine. And type. It's already typed there for me. Just type FAU for You. And press enter. There you go. And you can see all my recent broadcasts. 1 month ago, 2 months ago, you can see there's 490, I think. 490 different. Yeah, this is, there we are. This is a year ago. Got us on the air 3 hours and 11 minutes on this particular broadcast. Anyway, in total, 48,000 viewers. There's FAU versus FIU in November. The Shula Bowl event 11 years ago. Can you believe it? 11 years ago.
Athletics would like to thank Dennis Trudell for his commitment and efforts in moving Florida Atlantic University forward. Presenting interim President Trudell with a game ball, representing his first ever FAU football victory as president, our Board of Trustees Chairman, Anthony Barber, and Director of Athletics, recognize the United States Marine Corps as a proud partner of FAU Athletics. Please welcome Captain Troutman and Gunnery Sergeant Aguilar from the Officers Selection Team Miami, Marine Corps recruiting station right here in Fort Lauderdale. For more information on the Marine Corps, you can call 305-221-6815 or visit Marine Alexa Arisa from the FAU Women's Soccer Team. They'll be presented Alexa with a check in the amount of $138.2 million, which represents the amount of Pride Teacher Scholarship funding Florida Atlantic University has received from the Florida Lottery. More than 650,000 students statewide have received a Bright Future Scholarship. That's enough to fill FAU Stadium to capacity 21 times. These Florida Lottery representatives will now be presented a game ball signed by interim football coach Brian Wrights. The Owls would like to thank the Florida Lottery for its continued support of FAU athletics.
You want to watch on YouTube Live. It's a great channel. Your modern TVs, you type it in the app. YouTube. I have the app right here on page on my, what do you call it? My Alma pad. I'm actually, you hear this Epidemic Sound instrumental, my royalty-free music. That's actually being played through YouTube Music. Bye-bye.